I'm Cass, I'm from Bad Axe Toolworks, and I'm also a stained glass artist from Duluth, Minnesota. Bad Axe Toolworks is a custom handsaw and backsaw company where we make everything custom down to the saw filing, finishes, handle sizing, and species. My role in the company is manager, just overall doing, just kind of wearing all the hats. I'm a saw maker, I do like the back end, marketing, social media, all of the things. I'm also a stained glass artist, so that's actually how I started out. I have a small studio just in my basement in my house where I do stained glass just on the weekends and in my free time. I grew up here in Duluth, Minnesota. I've been here for 28 years now. I was kind of a little bit shy, but then as I got a little bit older, kind of came out of my shell a little bit more. But I was playing with the boys. I loved just like being rambunctious, and like I wasn't like a girly girl as a kid. That just wasn't me. Once I got into 10th grade, my art teacher, he believed in me a lot, and he knew that I was going through a lot in my home life, so he just kind of like pushed me to expand like my creativity and just like the meaning behind the art, what it means to you. And like we would have like a independent art study every morning. It opened my eyes more to like the meaning of art and just like how it can transform you as a person. That was really like where I got started, was in 10th grade in art class, just like taking different courses. His name was Mr. Quisling, shout out. Over the years, doing painting, sculpture, it never scratched the itch that I was looking for, because I never had like a point of like finishing a project. It was always like you could keep painting for hours and hours, and there was never like a stopping point. And I needed that like complete finished work, you know, feeling of like I can step back and be like happy with the finished product. So stained glass was something that always kind of interests me, because there's so many like different components into like that go into the craft. Like you can't just be good at like one thing. You have to be good at like multiple different things within the craft. So it always kind of intrigued me that not that many people did it, and that it's just kind of like a dying craft. So that's really what like sparked me to start learning it, because painting was just kind of like falling by the wayside, and I wanted something else to like focus my time on. So when quarantine happened in 2020, I just started watching YouTube videos and just started like practicing myself at home, and just kind of like launched that into the next year. I just like really took over like doing stained glass instead of like painting. That really sparked me to like want to work with my hands in like a tangible way, in like a job where I can like make money and like still be successful, and not like it's hard with art, because like you can be really good at it and still not make any money. So I wanted to work with my hands that wasn't just only stained glass, like having that be my only income. So I was looking on Facebook Marketplace, actually. They used to have like jobs on there. I found an assistant saw maker position on there. I told myself that if I can teach myself stained glass through YouTube, that I think someone can teach me how to like make a saw. It was a lot of work to like get to that point, but at the time that I found the post on Facebook, Mark Harrell was in charge of Bad Axe. He just moved to Superior from La Crosse, Wisconsin. Unfortunately, his wife had passed away, and she was from this area originally, so she wanted to live out her last days where she was from. He had to get a whole new staff, so we were completely new, just like starting over, and he taught me everything that I know with saw making. Kept growing and like learning. It took probably a year or more to get like really good at it, but I don't know. It takes some time, because I didn't even know how to use a drill like truly before I started working there. So it's kind of embarrassing like saying that now, because I'm 5 years in, but I don't know. It was a lot of work to get to that point. I saw Mark struggling with just like maintaining the business on his own. Yvonne was a lot of the back end stuff, where Mark was more in the shop making the saws. One day I had reached out and just said like, hey, if you need help, I can help you in like the logistics side of things, because truly I don't think that was like his interest in like, he couldn't manage all of it at that time. So he started teaching me logistics, and with that comes a lot of responsibility. And we went through like a lot of personnel change in those couple of years, just like hiring people, they're not cut out for the job, they can't handle like, you know, the work environment is tough because you can't be bad at it, you have to be really, really good. So it's a lot of fine tuning like your craft. I stepped up into like a supervisor role when I became like a logistics manager. A couple years into doing the logistics, Mark actually approached my coworker and I about taking over the business, which was a huge shock, not gonna lie. I never thought that I would be like cut out for like running a saw making company. You know, I'm just a girl just running a tool company. But so Mark sold the company 3 years ago now, and we took over, and one thing leads to another. Unfortunately, my business partner didn't work out, so I took over. Now I'm running the whole show. But I do have 2 really good employees, and it helps a lot having just really good staff. The first day that I worked at Bad Axe, I walked in the door and Mark hands me a saw, and he's like, for 20 minutes every day, the first thing you're gonna do is saw. And then until you figure it out and get it right, you're gonna do that 20 minutes every day. And so I did that every morning. I would come in. I hated it, but I got to the point where I could officially cut with a saw the right way. And that was kind of that point of like, oh, I can actually use this tool. I'm like, I know what I'm doing a little bit more. Well, we take pride in hand making everything. So it's hand set, hand sharpened. We test cut, clean everything. So it's more than just like slapping a tool together and just sending it out the door. You actually have people that are, you know, behind the tool, assessing every single step of the way, making sure that everything is perfect. And I think that's the difference, is that a machine all day can sharpen teeth for you, and it can do all the work for you, but to have that trained eye and to know what to look for in a saw is really like what we take pride in, because that takes years to get, you know, proficient at. Sometimes when I tell people that I'm a saw maker, they're just like, you're what? Like, you're a girl, you make saws? And then they don't really ask much after that. It's just kind of like, okay, like we're gonna move on. Like I don't know, people like, it's fine, because I've kind of grown to expect that people doubt me in being a young female. But I think the proof is in the pudding. So if they cut with the saw and they are amazed by it, then there's your proof that I can do it, and just as good as any guy could do it, so. Quality means that everything is perfect. Like, if I have an issue, I always put myself in the customer's shoes, and if I were a customer and they would be upset with something, like say there was a scratch or like something wasn't like perfect on a saw, I take those things like really seriously, and like the quality control that goes into everything is something that is first and foremost when we're building everything. So maintaining that quality as well. So once the saw is in the customer's hands, we always maintain them. We offer like a $25 resharpening. So we always try to get people to like bring the tools back to us. You know, it's not just like a throw it away and get a new one type of tool. We truly make lifetime generational tools, and that's something that not a lot of companies can offer.
I can use many different saws, right? But when I pick up the Bad Axe saw, it just feels right in the hand. It inspires me to do good work, but it also does good work because I'm not held back by something that may be wrong with the saw. And I also find, you know, when I'm teaching, you know, students bring in lots of different tools, and I'll oftentimes hand them a Bad Axe saw and say, here, try this. And when a student who is relatively new at the craft or relatively new at sawing can tell the difference between one saw and then a Bad Axe saw, it's like, yeah, they're making a good product. Hi, my name is Frank Straza. I'm a furniture maker and also a teacher. I'm here at Mark Adams School of Woodworking teaching a 7-day rocking chair class. I build furniture. I've been building furniture day in and day out for the past 30 or so years. I do recall the first time I used a bad axe saw. It was several years back, and it was just wow.
My first impression of the bad axe saw. I wasn't a huge Western handsaw user before, but when I first tried one of the bad axe saws and it actually fit my hand, it was a huge game changer. The balance and my ability to use it exceeded any of my other experiences before that. And then the quality of it makes it easy to use. It's not intimidating. It just feels right, like an extension of your body. So it totally changed my mindset on Western handsaws, honestly. Hi, I'm Larissa Huff. I'm a woodworker, furniture maker, and instructor, and I am currently at the Wendell Castle Workshop getting ready to teach a week-long workshop. It changed my ability to use a handsaw, and I now trust myself to hand cut joinery in a way that I never did before.
My goodness, using the bad axe saw, I mean, it doesn't really compare because it's just so amazing. I mean, the polish on the blade, you know, a lot of vintage saws will have some sort of, you know, it's been used, right? And it's got the coating on the blade. It's just kind of rough, but the bad axe saw is just so fine and cuts beautifully. So it's kind of like using a vintage saw, but much better.
So I never really cut dovetails until I started my own business like 4 years ago. I had dabbled in them, I had practiced them, but never really incorporated them in my work because I felt like I couldn't cut them well. And once I got my hands on this saw and I started practicing cutting straight lines and realized I had success, it changed my ability to cut dovetails, which is such a fundamental in furniture making. It's so funny that I was 10 years into my career and I was like, oh, this saw makes me feel like I can do this very basic skill. But yeah, it changed my hand tool game entirely. Using something that anybody has handmade is my preference because I know that my work is better when my hands are interacting with it. And I know that all of my friends who work in all of their mediums, their work is amazing because they love it. And I think that handmade hand tools are the same. So whether it's a saw or a mallet or a chisel, whatever, if a human being cared to make it thoughtfully for another human to use to make more objects with, it is like, it's a whole mindset, never mind the fact that the quality is actually tended to. It's not just going through, you know, like a manufacturing line and getting stamped together. It's cared for, and it's obvious in every single part of the saw.
There's so many different components that make a good tool, right? And with a saw in this case, I mean, you've got how the saw is filed, the sharpening of it, the set, the fit and finish, and then some more of the details, such as like a folded back like this. And that's one of the things that makes this saw great. You've got a folded back, but then follow that up to the handle. The way the handle fits the hand, the hang of the handle, that is the relationship of the handle to the actual blade and how that works, because that all ties into how the saw works. And the fit and finish of the handle, it's not too sharp and it's not too rounded over. It's just a wonderful, wonderful tool. It fits the hand beautifully, and how can you improve on it?
Everything about the bad axe saws is high quality. Every part of it has been touched by a human. People are paying attention as they're making it. They are testing them and using them. So the result is just a direct correlation to that. So they're very thoughtfully made, and therefore they're a delight to use.
That's the way you do it. Only possible with bad axe saws.
So we are here at Friday night game night, and we're setting up cast on made by Brandon at Cross and Miter. We take it very seriously here. We keep our game nights in a scorebook. We got it all separated by game tabs here. Just don't look at who's won the most, because all you need to see is my wins in here. There's only like 3, but I hope that when someone gets a box and they open it for the first time, that they just have the smile on their face that like, this is the custom tool that they saw in their mind, that they ordered online. So it's cool to see them, their faces light up and just be able to test out with it for the first few times. And even the emails that I get, it brings a tear to my eye sometimes. That just people, like, when they write thank you emails and like, it's just, I don't know, knowing that like you might be like a small part of like changing someone's like life potentially. Saw making you wouldn't think is like something that would change people's lives in big ways, but some people it makes more of a difference than you think. We had one of our customers message me like around a month ago that she had just got her saw and she was so in love with it because of the handle size, because she couldn't get something fit to her hand. Most companies just make a standard large or extra large for the majority of the population is men. And she just wrote me this big thank you email that just brought a tear to my eye, that was just like a thank you for like making something custom for women, that they can actually be included in this craft. And it's something that is going to change her life in big ways, that, you know, it's more than just like a handle that fits someone. It's her, now she can use the saw to like own her craft and just really like not have to make mistakes or just get injured. Like injury is a big thing too with like women specifically. If they have tools that are too big, they can get injured really easily. So just having that like custom handle size is really something that she was super happy about. That's like, that is a prideful feeling, knowing that you're not making something that's useless, that's gonna just fall apart and disintegrate. You're making something that's actually a lifetime tool and it's gonna be passed down for generations to come. So yeah, it makes me really happy. I think with stained glass and saw making, they kind of go hand in hand, even though they're not anywhere near the same craft. It's all like the fit and how things come together. So saw making really helped me with my stained glass, because it's all like, you know, test fitting, assessing, like seeing how everything comes together. And like same with stained glass, you have to grind everything, make sure everything comes together in the right way. So it really like changes your perspective of like, it's more than just like do a thing, you're done, move on. You have to actually like look at what you're doing and how it affects the entire thing. Like one little step of the process is gonna either make or break the rest of the piece that you're working on. So it's really like perfecting a bunch of small things. So I think overall I've just become more of like a perfectionist, but at the same time, I'm a little bit more hard on myself, because I feel like I should know, like, or should be better at some things. And just because I've been doing it for so long now. So I'm my hardest critic, but I don't know. I can't do anything about it, but yeah, definitely the maker community is something that I didn't anticipate being so in love with, because every single person truly like cares about what you do. I think they're kind of in the same position of like, we're all put through kind of the same things in general, and just in different ways. So they all like know how to support you. And that was something that I really wasn't expecting, just because you think that people would be like more like catty and just kind of like to themselves with their craft. But there are a lot of people that are willing to share what they do with you. And it's just cool to like share crafts, talk about different stories. It's just, you always learn something new when you hang out with them. I do appreciate the people that support a small business from the beginning to now, and just always are appreciative and just like know and understand that like we're a small business and we rely on our customers to, you know, stay in business, and we couldn't do it without all of our customers. So. With bad axe and saw making, it's more of like how much you can produce, and like in like a way that you're proud of it. And like, we're not a mass production company, but I get more satisfaction out of like how many I can get out in a day and get finished. Whereas like stained glass, it's more of a long game where you could spend 40 or more hours on a piece and it's just one single piece. So stained glass is more me expressing myself as a person, whereas saw making, there's still like small parts of me in it, but it's more like a standardized process. So stained glass really is like my craft that I do when I'm just like wanting to be myself. Stained glass can be really emotional because you can finish a piece, get all the way done, and break it at the very end, and nothing is more earth-shattering than that. Just like, you know, earth-shattering or heartbreaking. Is that a thing? I've gotten like fully finished with a piece before and like opened my cupboard and like a soup can fell out and like broke the entire thing. So it's like you're never fully finished until it's hanging on the window. You can do something 1,000 times, and the one time you think you got it right, you can end up cracking a piece, and it's just, you know, you got to start over. And it's really just like a humbling experience that no matter how trained you think you are and how much time you've put into this craft, you may not ever be perfect, and that's just something you gotta accept. Yeah, I mean, my art was definitely a distraction. In high school specifically, it was a distraction from my home life because it wasn't all that great. It really was like the thing that I could like focus on without thinking about going home at night. But it was like that thing that I would like reach for when I was, you know, in my emotions and kind of like needing an outlet. So when I was a kid, I was the older sister. I was the one that was talking to the people on behalf of my sister. I kind of grew up faster than I think most kids. My parents got divorced when I was in 4th grade, so having them separated just kind of, it kind of propels you into being more grown up than you have to be at that time. And my parents very much involved me in their divorce, so it was not something I probably should have gone through in 4th grade. Just like at that age, it wasn't, I don't know, it's not something that most people are going through at that age. So I became more independent, like kind of from a young age. And then when I turned 16, I was forced to get a job and start paying bills. So I took over all my own bills from the age of 16 and kind of just supported the majority of my life from that point on. I think being independent and just having to have a good head on my own shoulders and like knowing how to support myself, it helps in my role now, just knowing that like not every day is going to be the best day, but it's going to be okay. Like eventually you're going to come around and things are going to get better. It's not every day is like a bad day. Growing up with my parents being divorced and my mom being our primary caretaker, she took over like all the house repairs, and like just watching her like maintain home life on her own was just also something that I like really like learned from her and just kind of like took on. What I'm trying to say is like my like handiness of like being able to just like figure out like problem solving, I think comes from that a lot, of just like us being poor and like figuring out a solution to like fixing a problem that doesn't require buying a new one or like putting all this money into like, you know, making something new. That's kind of what I was trying to say. I really couldn't picture myself doing anything different. I've thought about this a lot, and I just couldn't picture myself in an office job. I've done multiple jobs. I've worked at a bank, I've worked at a bird store, I've worked at retail, I've worked as a bartender. I've done like everything, just like little things and just figuring out what I don't like, moving on to the next thing. And so far, this has been the longest thing that I've ever done. I've done this now for 5 years, and that's like, it's weird to think about that I've done this now so long, but it feels good. I'm just gonna keep doing it. The future is that Nick Offerman is gonna reach out to me and he's gonna want to buy one of our saws, and then we're gonna become best friends and we're gonna frolic off into the horizon as besties. That's my future. I think the biggest thing for me is moving more towards like leaded panels instead of just like sun catchers. I want to do more large scale pieces. Now that I have my own house, I have more space where I can spread out a little bit more and have that space to like make a big piece. So that's kind of the next thing on my mind is I want to make something big. Welcome to Curly's Bar, my favorite dive bar in Duluth, Minnesota. I like that we play pool and they got cheap beer. A lot of people doubt themselves. I hear so many times like, oh, I wish I could do stained glass. I wish I could do this. Just do it. Just do it. That's all that I can tell you is just watch videos on the process. And if you think you can't handle it, maybe pick up a different craft. But truly, if something interests you and you think you can do it, just do it. That's the only thing that you can do is like, just start somewhere. You know, I started with like the crappiest materials. I just started at like Hobby Lobby. I got like crappy glass, crappy materials, just like bare bones, like starting out just to see if I liked it. And I ended up loving it, of course. So I had to rebuy everything, but you got to start somewhere. So whether it's someone you know that does the craft or you have a teacher, you can like take a class somewhere, just get your hands on something and, you know, don't tell anyone you can't do it. I don't know where I'm going, but I know that my creative limits aren't stopping like anytime soon. So it's just gonna keep expanding, getting better and better. And as I get older, my craft is gonna get more refined and yeah, just gonna keep experimenting, seeing what other things I like to do. For Bad Axe, for where we're going, I want to see us like introduce more tools to the lineup, get more saws and like just different types of tools, just really expand the product line. But that's taking a lot of work and research and development, so that's another hat that I wear. Working with your hands is just really like satisfying, just knowing that like you as a person can like make something with your bare hands and not having a machine think and do it for you. It's cool to be able to say that I am a saw maker and I didn't have a machine that produced it. I'm not like in it for the money. I'm not like looking for like a multi-million-dollar house to move into and like have all the nice things. Like I just want a happy life and I want a little backyard with my little dog and that's what I have. So like, I'm happy with my life and I'm not looking for like outside source of like joy, I guess. I'm not I'm happy with the way things are in my life, and I'm proud of myself as a person and like where I've come.
But do you think that, like, are you going to end up okay?
I don't know.
This is a funny question. What's bringing you joy right now?
Like right at this moment, nothing brings me joy.